This latest chapter of Choujin X, chapter 19, that cliffhanger was amazing, man. Ririka already fucked up Azuma, and we're going to suspect that Azuma is actually going to get his Choujin powers, and we're actually going to get a beast form of a Choujin because we actually are able to see what one of his abilities is able to do because he was able to talk to a hyena during this latest chapter. But man, just seeing the fight sequence between Ririka and Azuma was 100% amazing because even though all the stacks is against Azuma, he was able enough to risk his life to go ahead and try to save Tokyo. But man, I cannot wait for the next chapter because it's kind of foreshadowing that Azuma is going to get his Choujin powers or his Choujin power is going to be activated in some kind of way. But let's go in the beginning of the chapter. While we see that Ririka she is contacting someone, which happens to be the masked man that's really after Tokyo. And he is stating that, oh, is he there at your location? And she stated that, yes, me and Ricardo are there. So he was just like, great, I suspect nothing less from both of you guys. So the scene continues where we see that Ellie is in stand watch while the rest of the other team members they are looking for the motel and also seeing the area to see if there's any opening or to see that there's any chance that they can go in without any like notice and try to see if the situation is like all good because you don't want to make the situation worse to the point where they probably might kill Tokyo, or you try to make the situation like less of a danger. So while everyone is outside of the building or the outskirts of the building, Tokyo, he's in the room while Ricardo is just watching TV and Tokyo just seems bored, and which is just very, very funny because Ricardo, he just seems very relaxed and chill. Like he's just like unbothered by Tokyo, and Tokyo, he's just being a good hostage. He's just like sitting there and just like, I don't know what to do. Like what the hell is going on? So it was just really, real funny just to see that scene, how Tokyo, he just seems just very irritated while Ricardo's just sitting there just watching TV. But we get cut to Azuma, and Azuma now he's in a tough situation because one hand he has to listen to the students of the Yamato class because they said that, hey, we'll take care of it, we'll go rescue Tokyo, we don't need you there because you will get yourself killed. But on the other hand, this is Tokyo, his best friend. He wants to save him. He wants to make sure that Tokyo is alive. So he doesn't know what to do. So he starts to think of a situation, or he goes back into his flashback of him and his father walking to the train tracks while the train tracks split into two. On the right side is civilization, and on the left side is a place unknown, a pathway which it can go very, very long, and it could lead you to something that you've never seen before. So, of course, Azuma and his dad took the long way, took the left side, and as they're just walking, it just continuously was a long route to the point where Azuma has blisters and everything. And during that whole course of time, every time when he tries to make a tough decision, he just think of the moment of the train tracks with his dad. So while he is just thinking of that, a hyena appeared, and the hyena was just like, hey, can you point me out to the ocean? And this was a one key factor that for the fact that Azuma has Choujin powers is because he's talking to a hyena and he understands fully what the hyena is stating. Because the hyena was just like, hey, can you point me to the ocean? Azuma was like, oh, the ocean is right there. And so he was just like, oh, thanks. And so the hyena just walked past by him. And that's when you just kind of can tell that Azuma has Choujin powers, because when he went in his, vulture Choujin powers, he was able to talk to pigeons. And of course, he was able to understand the animals as well in the zoo. So, of course, since Azuma, he's able to understand the hyena is associated with cats, and also too, Azuma, his favorite animal is lions as well. So we're kind of gonna suspect to see that Azuma is gonna have some kind of beast Choujin power or beast personification powers of him being like a lion or some kind of cat feline form. So Azuma, he goes and he finds the locations where they are holding against Tokyo. And Ellie, she sees and spots, Azuma. She was like, wait a minute, Azuma, is that you? And then so she's just looking concerned. And as Azuma's walking into the building, he spots Ririka. And at this current moment, Azuma is thinking and he says, hey, you know what? Tokyo, he risked my life to save me, so I'm going to repair the favor to him because I want to be the kind of person who risks his life for a friend too. So at this current moment, he knows that the fact that the person that he's going to fight against actually has Choujin powers, and the level of danger that he is facing, he is nervous, he is scared because he knows that he is no match for Ririka. So Ririka, she's just like, hey, no entry. And Azuma's like, man, I don't care. He was like, I'm making the right choice. Give me back my friend. So Ririka is just like, listen, bruh, like, I'm going to go ahead and kill you. So when she was about to pull out them big scissors, Azuma, he goes straight forward and he goes and kick her. But unfortunately, she turned herself into paper. And as she turned herself into paper, she was able to grab her sword or her scissors, sorry, and says that you will die. And she goes ahead and charge at Azuma, and Azuma, he was able to dodge her scissors attacks, and he was able to go and do a kicked her in the face, knocking her mask off. And as he knocked her mask off, the girl, she was able to turn herself into paper and was able to do a kicking Azuma in the stomach with heels. So I know for a fact Azuma is hurt at this current moment. So while Azuma, he is on the ground, Ririka, she used her scissors and cut a piece of Azuma's ear off. Like, oh my gosh, like that is just so brutal. So she threw his ear into the ground, and we see a full face reveal of Ririka, and we see tons of scars in her face, like through the mask, like a Joker face. Like that's how her face actually looked. So while she's doing that face, she goes and sets signals to any Choujin that's near this location that she's at, which happens to be Ricardo and Tokyo, and they both sensed it since they're both Choujins. So while Ricardo, he sensed it, he's just like, oh shoot, Ririka is pissed. So he's like, you know what? He was just like, I'm gonna tie you up. He's like, hey, do not move. I'll be right back. So Tokyo is just like, man, forget this. So he used his full beast personifications to get out of the building, and he's just like, yo, where am I? Like, what's going on? So we get cut back into the battle between Azuma and Ririka. And man, the art style in these past few pages of this chapter was amazing. Just seeing like how brutal, dark, and how like sketchy like the art style was just 100% beautiful. Like I just admired just the artwork and style of this battle. So we see a barrage of papers, and they're cutting the shit out of Azuma. Like Azuma has a severe bad paper cuts, but Azuma, he's like bleeding, he's injured, but he's just like, no, I'm not giving up. He's like, I'm here to save my friends. And then so while he's stating that, there's a whole bunch of papers are coming out, but Azuma, he doesn't care. And then so while the next rounds of paper comes in, they actually was able to do the job because they were able to rip Azuma into pieces. So you see pieces of Azuma's arm, half of his body's coming off. You just see tons and tons of like pieces of Azuma's body just being ripped apart. And the thing is, it looks like this cliffhanger, it seems like Azuma is going to die or he's dead, or it could be a possibility that he might activate his Choujin powers, because we all know for the fact that since he was able to talk to that hyena, he has some Choujin powers. So we just gotta wait and see what's gonna happen in chapter 20, because chapter 20 is going to be lit, because I can't wait to see what's gonna go down in chapter 20. But other than that, let me know down in the comment section how you guys feel about this chapter. What is your favorite moment? And if you guys do like the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and remember, always be decent. This is the Monto Man. I hope you guys have a wonderful day and be safe out there.